Hey there, you are at the right place if you're looking to learn about the secret life of a professional organizer. Is these people really tidy like Marie Kondo is talking, and minimalism, and how is it in their home? Salut, I'm Valérie Huard, and I overcome my complex PTSD by using decluttering and organizing tool. And today I had the chance to interview a professional organizer, Julie Fortin, that is really trained to work with people that has some mental health difficulties that make them start accumulating more clutter at home. But before going into diving into that, we want to know a bit more about Julie. So, hello, Julie.
Bonjour. Hi, Valerie.
So, Julie, when did it come first things in your mind to become a professional organizer?
I think that the first initial time that I knew I wanted to be a professional organizer was when I was 8 years old. I didn't really know that it existed. My passion was already starting to come out. When you start to organize other people's things without asking them or doing it naturally, I think this is when I realized it at a young age, but I didn't really know that it was a career that I could do. And it's only been in the last 15 years that I've been really helping people get organized.
So, when you were 8 years old, did you just mention that you organized things of somebody without asking for?
Yes.
What did you did?
So I was helping when my dad wasn't home. In the basement, he used to have a workshop, and he had pieces of wood everywhere. His tools were all over the place, and I took the time to place all his tools together. And even at the age of 8, I knew where the type of screwdrivers were together, the saws were together, the different types of wood, the different types of screws, and they were divided based on the end of the screws or the type of wood, which is quite impressive if you really think about it for an 8-year-old to know all these things. But the first lesson that I've learned was you need to get permission to organize people.
So I imagine he was happy and mad at the same time.
Yeah, he was happy because his workshop looked really nice, but he was a little bit mad because he couldn't find anything because I organized it based on what I thought was the best way to organize him.
Wow. Okay. So later on, you discover that you can become a professional organizer and you decide to get training and to become one.
Yeah, exactly that. I did some research and I found out that the National Association for Professional Organizers existed in the States. And from there, I wanted to find out if there was anything available in Canada, and that's where it all started.
Wow. So when you were a teenager, you said that at 8 years old, you were cleaning for others. But what about teenagers? Because I have teenager at home and sometimes it's not all tidy, let me tell you. So how is it?
Well, for me, and I will tell you a story. This is one of my little secrets I haven't shared with a lot of people. I was looking around and all my friends, like you were saying, teenagers are messy, but my room was neat. And I said, okay, well, I'm going to try it out. I want to be like everybody else. So I took out everything out of the drawers, threw it all over the place, took everything out of the library or the shelving I had, threw it all over the place. And it took me 10 minutes before I put everything back. For me, I can't live in an environment that has clutter. And at first I thought I was strange because everybody else around me wasn't organized like I was. But then I soon discovered that that everybody's different and everybody's more comfortable in a certain environment where they don't need to be 100% organized.
Nice. So now that you're a mom, is your place always tidy?
As a professional organizer, it should be, right? But no, life does happen. And with kids, the priority is taking care of your kids. Whether the dishes pile up in the sink, it's completely normal. There's days that my kitchen is fully neat and clean and everything's put away, and other days I have dishes piled into the sink, or the dishwasher hasn't been emptied. And that's completely normal. With kids, it changes too with their age. And to me, I don't feel guilty because I know that what's the most important thing is caring for my kids. So if the organizing part takes a little bit on the sideways, that's okay.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure at your home, it's a bit like at my home because I did also my professional organizing, but it's kind of each thing has its own place in the house. It's not like, okay, I don't know where to put that cup or that mug because my cupboard are too full of mug. Then if I don't have some in the dishwashers, I cannot put all them in the cupboard. Like everything has its own place and it's not in the dishwasher. So what about your place? Everything has a place?
There's another little secret. Most of the items in my house has a space. And to me, it's important to, because having moved from one home to the next, it does take a while to organize every space. And to me, I work really hard for myself, with the rest of the family, to try to find a place for us to store all of our items. And when we don't have a place for it, we either need to create one or we need to decide if the item is still important to us to hold on to it, to make room for it. And I think that's the trick, is to use the space that you have. And if you don't have this space, then you have to ask yourself the question, is it really something I want to keep? And if it's not, then eliminate it from your household by donating, by throwing it out, by giving it to a friend or family member.
Let me tell you a secret about Julie. So for lots of parents, we put all the toy into a bin. But at Julie's place, I saw her nerve gun things. It's a wall and everything is organized. It's beautiful and the kids can come and choose the one they want and it's accessible and they don't have to empty the bin to find what they want.
Yeah, you're right, Valerie. I have a nice wall of Nerf guns because I was tired of always finding the Nerf guns a little bit everywhere in my house. And that was our solution. The kids love it because they get to see exactly what they have. They have easy access to the item and they know exactly where to put it back once they're done. And I think that's the trick, is to make it so that it's convenient for the person who's going to be using that space. And for my kids, separating the items based on the category really worked well.
Nice. So you just gave us a tool about separating by category. What other tools are you using or system to keep things organized?
One of the other things that I use is, like I mentioned, categorizing is one of the options that you can use. The other option is to look at, where does it belong in the house? Example, tools in my home belongs in the garage. I do, however, have a handy screwdriver or multi-use screwdriver that I keep in the kitchen, because a lot of the times there's something that may become loose in the cupboards for the screws or whatnot, and I don't always want to go into the garage to get the proper screwdriver. So we do have multi-tools that we do keep in the kitchen under the sink. But that's another trick, is to really identify, where does it belong? Example, where would you put your bed sheets or your blankets? The way that I function is I put them in the room that they belong. If the kids have a single bed, then they have all their sheets in their closet so that it belongs to that room. Sometimes you want to put all of those together in one category, where you would keep it in a cupboard, either in your bathroom or in a hallway closet, and that's okay too. But you need to, for me, I do it based on what works for me, and that's something that works for me.
Nice. So let me ask you, how many towels do you have in your
That's
bedroom?
the burning question.
And I want also to ask the people who are watching, comment, how many towels do you have per person in your household? Comment below.
Well, for me, with my family, we have 2 towels per person, and we have an extra towel per the maximum amount of guests that we have at any given time. And we don't go over that. And we also have beach towels. We have 1 beach towel each, and that's what we have. It doesn't seem like a lot, but all you need to do is do your laundry once a week, and you have enough towels to last you for that whole week.
Totally agreeing with you. It's exactly the same number that I have in my house. So we're 4 in the house. So we have 8 towels plus the 4 for the beach and 2 for guests. So it's the amount of towels we have. And it's still fully take the space into my linen closet. So Julie, I'm sure you face some weird experiences in your profession. Can you tell me little secrets that you discovered?
Well, one of the weird things that I've discovered is one of my clients, we opened up the cupboard to discover a rat carcass that had wasn't just it wasn't in its decomposing stage. It was literally, there was nothing left. It was almost just the skin, not the skin, but yeah, so the fur and the bones. And it had gotten caught in a container or something, and it just stayed there until it decomposed, which was quite I think this is the weirdest thing that I've ever seen up to now.
But that do not happen in every house. I'm pretty sure there's different level of clutter and things like that.
Yes, there is. One of the interesting things, not weird, but interesting things that I did find is there was a pomegranate that had dried out to the point where when we were clearing out a reusable grocery bag, I thought it was one of those plastic fruits that you could buy at the store, to discover that it was actually the real fruit, and it had dried out from the being buried in clutter.
Wow. And did you ever find money hidden or like treasury search?
I have, and it's surprising the amount of money that I can find when I help people get organized. The biggest amount that I've found in an organizing session, not just in one location, I found over $500 of money that was stored away in old Christmas cards, birthday cards, in a drawer, in books, and it's quite interesting, the story on how the money gets hidden, almost like a pirate putting away, burying their treasure, but in their clutter. It's quite interesting how it gets to that point.
Pretty sure that customer was really happy to find $500.
Yes, and I always joke and I say, oh, well, now you can take me out for lunch. After we work really hard, you can take me out for lunch.
That's really cool. So how do you know when an organizing project is successful?
I know when an organizing project is successful is when the client can start on their own to visualize their space and come up with some ideas, and they're able to do it on their own. And what I mean by that is, an example that I can provide you is a client that I've been working with for 3 months calls me out of the blue and says, you know what, we've been working on this space, and you know what, how about we try to put the baskets this way and these items there, and then we can move those boxes out of the way so that everything gets together. And I was quite impressed, because that just means that the work that gets put in and the tools and the techniques that I teach my clients as I organize, they're able to take those and move forward on their own to keep their house, apartment, or space organized.
Really nice. So we all know that a cluttered mind is reflected in a cluttered space. So subscribe to this channel if you want to learn more about how to declutter your mind and your space, but also how to organize it, because Julie will come back and she will came with lots of tips and tricks on how to organize things into your place. So subscribe to this YouTube channel. And Julie, I really thank you so much for this interview.
Thank you, Valerie, and see you soon.